Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, yes, we're back, the NX 7062 podcast. We are here, we are live. Faith, so happy to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you were waiting with bated breath to be here and kind of hang out with me tonight, and I so appreciate that. Magic Lasso, thank you so much. I'd say I missed you, but we've been talking all summer, so. And in fact, shout out to Magic Lasso. I am totally returning the favor. He got me a couple of subscribers over the summer because he mentioned me in one of his podcasts after I sent him his stuff. I sent him stuff, and as it is known in the comic world, it's an A-OK act of kindness. And so he included my stuff in one of his videos, and then he sent people to my page. So just to show that there's definite crossover between the comic book universe and the Star Trek universe. Podcat is even here for the inaugural show of the season. Not happy that I just did that. All right. You got in here without knocking the green screen down. Can you try to stay here without doing that too? So I hope everybody had an amazing summer. My summer was pretty good. It was kind of dull until August. And then what happened in August was I went to Connecticut for Terrificon the weekend before I was supposed to leave for Vegas. So I was warming up in Connecticut for the fun that was going to be Vegas. Hi, Travis. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. As you can see, I have a new audio video set up, so I hope you guys can all see me and hear me. And Kalal's already distracting me. Kat, you're going to go on the floor in a second. So, as promised, we are definitely going to be talking about Vegas, but the one thing I wanted to remind everybody of is yesterday was the official 20th anniversary of Star Trek Enterprise. It was the first time that Broken Bow aired 20 years ago yesterday, which is one of the reasons why I decided to save the show to start it tonight. Oh, thank you, Faith. I wanted to save the show to start tonight. And then I was debating what I was going to wear, but I figured, did I want to go low key? No, it was Enterprise's 20th anniversary. And honestly, and I mean this with all sincerity, and I posted about it yesterday, if it hasn't been for Enterprise, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be back in the Star Trek universe. So I owe a lot to Enterprise. Let's see. Oh, there we go. See, that's awesome, Travis. Hope you enjoyed them. I have a new 4K TV. And even though Enterprise is only on regular Blu-ray, just the upgrade that you get from putting a Blu-ray into a 4K player. So I watched Broken Bow yesterday, and it was amazing. And what's really funny is I was actually noticing little things I don't think I ever noticed before, thanks to the Blu-ray. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so yesterday. And the one thing I will say about Vegas to start off with is that because they lost the license with CBS, they really couldn't even celebrate Enterprise's 20th anniversary. They mentioned it at the panel, at the end of the panel, because there was actually only one Enterprise panel, and it had Connor and Dominic and Anthony and John Billingsley for the first time. And I didn't go. I was busy. I actually didn't go. Connor said it was good. But anyway, so that was basically it. Was they mentioned it at the panel, but there was no big celebration like there's been for the last few shows. And they're even getting screwed in. Hey, Robert, welcome. So glad you're here. All the gang's all here. Chat Pack 2.0. So there, as a lot of you know, there's Destination Star Trek over in the UK. This year it's in London. Well, last year they were going to celebrate Voyager's 25th. It's not 2020 anymore, but they never got a chance to do it. So they're actually doing it this year. So I'm hoping, since they're a year behind, they'll just do Enterprises next year, which would be great because I don't have a passport yet. So I would be able to save up to go. Let's see. What does Travis have to say? I'm not using my DVD player I'm watching it on Blu-ray for my WeRut. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, see, real quick story. When I got back into Enterprise back in 2016, all I had was Netflix. And I don't I didn't binge watch it, like a season at a time. I was taking my time watching it. And I ended up getting the Blu-ray before I finished the series. I was in the 4th season, but I hadn't finished it yet. And I was really smart. I had stopped. The next episode I was supposed to watch was In a Mirror Darkly. And I am so glad that I waited, because when I got the Blu-rays, that was the first episode I saw on Blu-ray. So Travis, you are in for an absolute treat. I mean, the Blu-rays are great, but when you get to In a Mirror Darkly, the colors, everything just pops. It was amazing. So that's what I did. I kind of watched the last couple episodes and then went back to the beginning. So what else do we have? Oh, I know what we want to talk about. Like a good Ferengi, the first thing I want to talk about is my acquisitions. For those of you that follow the podcast, you might have heard me talking about Death Star Rising, which is not obviously a Star Trek thing, but it's this lithograph that I've been chasing for the last, I'm not even going to say how long. I finally got it. It's a poster, but it's a numbered poster, and I got it in Vegas, and they shipped it to me, and I was going to put it in a frame and take a picture. The first frame, there was something wrong with it. It was all scratched. I returned it. Second frame, and I thought that the first frame might have even been a little too small, so I got the next size up. That's still too small. So no pictures yet, because I don't have it in a frame. The minute I get in a frame, you guys can see the pictures. You've been watching Voyager. I hope you're enjoying it, Robert. We all know I don't like Voyager, but to each his own. So if that's your pleasure, and if you're on Netflix, I hope you're going to be done in the next couple of days, because the internet has been abuzz. Yes, Enterprise and Voyager, the last of the Star Treks on Netflix, are leaving as of the 30th. Everything is going to be moving over to Paramount Plus, which is making me reconsider my commercial. I got the cheapy Paramount Plus, the one that you have to watch commercials. So I'm debating upgrading that, because I like falling asleep to Enterprise, and I lost my hookup with Heroes and Icons. So the only way I can fall asleep to Enterprise right now is if I watch it, if I stream it. Oh, there you go. Okay, good, Rob. Good for you. Watch it on Paramount. Let's see. What's Travis got to say? The only thing I don't like is the DVDs have booklets about the episodes, but the Blu-ray don't. Oh, yeah. I never had it on DVD, so I didn't know that. Yeah, you're right. But you know what? Maybe all you need to know is in all the Blu-ray extras, because I watched some of the Blu-ray extras last night. But the other acquisition that I got, and this was from back when I went to the Sci Fi Summit in New Jersey, which was just a couple weekends ago. But they're hard when you're falling asleep. I kind of like not having the commercials, but it's an excellent point, Faith. Absolutely excellent point. So Sci Fi Summit New Jersey technically was not a Star Trek convention, because again, Creation lost the license. They actually had people there from The Flash and from a couple other sci-fi shows that I really didn't care about. I was obviously there for the Star Trek. And they had very few vendors. It was a very teeny tiny convention compared to the other Jersey conventions I've gone to. But it was nice because it was in a convention center, so everything was centrally located. But I did get one very cool acquisition that I debated over, and I haggled over, and I still didn't quite like the price, but it was completely worth it. It is, I don't think I can blow it up, but this is a TV guide. It is actually about the final episode of Star Trek Enterprise, because you can see it says right there, Riker and Troy return. So this was about the final episode of Enterprise before we all hated it, or most of us hated it. And it has Jolene Blalock, Scott Bakula, and Connor Trinneer. Now, we all know I don't need Connor's autograph, but to get Jolene, who does not do conventions anymore, and to get Scott, I have now officially completed my Star Trek, my Enterprise autographs. So I am really excited. I now have everybody's autograph. If I ever do run across a convention with Bakula, I was hedging my bets. If by some miracle Bakula does something somewhere and I can go, I might consider taking that and spending whatever I need to spend to get him just to personalize it. Connor, I could probably ask, and Jolene, it's you know what, it is what it is. I will probably never get it personalized, but at least I can say I now have everybody in the main cast on something. And that's the other thing I loved about getting the TV guide is it's something unique, because I've got all the cast members, their signatures are on something unique. I had a friend of mine do a commission for me of Trip and Malcolm. So that's where Connor and Dominic's signatures are. John Billingsley's on this little pouch that a friend of mine gave me that has little cartoons of a bunch of different characters, including Phlox. Linda Park is on a Star Trek magazine cover, and she signed that for me. So, and Anthony Montgomery, he signed my Eagle Moss NX-01 model. So I am all set. I am all set with those signatures and having them all on unique little things. Now I'm just trying to find a really good little display case I can put the TV guide and the little pouch in. The problem with the pouch is John Billingsley is on one side and Marina and Jonathan Frakes are on the other. Let's see. The backer kits for Voyager went out end of July. Looking forward to the release date. Yes, I saw that. I am waiting for my t-shirt. I have a Coffee Replicator Company t-shirt coming to me because I did back the Voyager documentary. Hopefully now that they're done, well, they're not done, but now that they're on Voyager, hopefully they're setting themselves up so we can get an Enterprise documentary, because, you know, I sort of know people on the documentary, so I'm hoping if they decide to do Enterprise that I can do that. All right. So let's see what happened in Vegas. When it comes to me and STLV and you guys, it doesn't stay in Vegas. We all know that. So I did collect on my hug that Connor Trenier promised me back in April of 2020 when we all thought there was still going to be a Star Trek Vegas that year. He was on the show, and we were talking. He said he missed hugging people, and I said, well, I want to get in on that. So actually I collected twice. Hello and goodbye. He's doing really well. I was with Lambda Quadrant. We actually did finally confirm our booth. So where our booth was situated and where the Enterprise guys were signing, if I turned around in the booth, I could see. And at one point I turned around and somebody actually got Dominic Keating to put on the uniform. There we go. Put on that uniform. So I didn't take a picture because it wasn't my deal and I don't do that. But he actually was walking around in the uniform. I did actually get the chance to tell him he still looked good in it. I saw Jeff Combs very briefly. I have his autograph on a Shran picture, but when I was at my local comic shop right before I left, I found a graphic novelization of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. And since I have seen him do Poe, his one-man Poe show, which I think they'd love for him to do again in Vegas. He did it at least once in Vegas. I got him to sign that for me. What else? Oh, yeah, Miles Away. I asked Anthony Montgomery what is going on with Miles Away. You know what? I don't know, Lasso. That is a really good question. My guess would be it was a reproduction. It was probably somebody's cosplay that he asked him to put on. Only because, then again, I don't know. If I do know that those uniforms have been out and auctioned off. I didn't get a chance to ask him. I sort of just said something in passing. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking maybe the only way you could get Dominic Keating to put that on would be if it was his from the show. So, because it fit him like a glove. So, Lasso, you might have a point. It might actually have been one that somebody bought that found at an auction or somewhere, and it was actually screen worn. Excellent catch there, Lasso. See, this is why I love having you around. So Anthony Montgomery, we chatted very briefly about Miles Away, his graphic novel that is still in the works. It is looking for a home right now. The animated version. He does have an animated version. They're still just trying, and COVID just everything screeching halt with COVID. I think one of the last convention I went to. The last convention I went to was Farpoint, which was down in Maryland, where Anthony signed the NX-01 for me, and he had been talking about it then, but that was February of 2020, and we all know what happened right after that. So that's kind of when he was working on it. So I'm sure If we're talking about Dominic's mullet, I have no comment. Didn't get a chance. I really, I tried to spend very little time. Usually I like to go over and hang out and chat with the celebrities, as you all know, and I like to bring stories back to you guys. This year was very different. All the celebrities had plexiglass up in front of their tables, and you were supposed to stand on the outside of it. But the celebrities I was friendly with, the celebrities that knew me, like I said, I got a hug from Connor. We were both vaccinated. We were both wearing masks. So, it just depended on who you were talking to. And but like I said, it was such a lightly attended convention as compared to every other year that I didn't want to spend too much time, because I know that it was all about them getting their autographs. Yeah, that was the Sci Fi Summit I was just talking about. That's where I got the TV guide from. They're calling it the Sci Fi Summit. That's funny. Yeah, she always sits by the boys. It's always the Enterprise guys, and then right on as you turn the corner, there's Nicole. She actually did. I saw this photo op she did with the two of them, with Connor and Dominic on one side of the plexiglass, and she was on the other. It was really cute. Connor showed it to me. The one thing I will say about Creations is that they were really were trying to keep everybody safe and everybody healthy. They were testing for COVID if you weren't vaccinated. If you were vaccinated, you had to go in, you had to show proof of vaccination. Didn't matter. You still had to wear your masks, which ended up being a mandate for the county anyway. So no matter where you went, you were wearing a mask unless you were out by the pool. So there was that. They were being really, like I said, they were being really careful. And like I said, everybody had plexiglass. They were doing the photo ops outside so people wouldn't have to wear their masks, but there was still the plexiglass. But a lot of people were photoshopping it out, so it didn't look so terrible, especially if you could get the celebrity to put their hand up on the glass. Everybody, I have to tell you, everybody, of course, kept saying they wanted Bill Shatner to do the whole, live long and prosper, have been and always shall be your friend from the end of Wrath of Khan. Was not a unique idea. I thought somebody should have asked him if he would do something from the Twilight Zone where he saw the creature on the wing of the plane. At least that would be different. I did not see the project start. I did not see that. No, I'm sorry, Robert. I was either at the Lambda Quadrant booth or like running around the vendor's room. Was pretty much my entire thing. I didn't really wander too far. There were only 4 of us doing Lambda Quadrant. So wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to do a little bit of everything. But Robert, you will like to know this. They added J.G. Hertzler at the very last minute. I think he showed up Thursday. Yeah, he showed up on Thursday. So that was a last minute ad. So I got a chance to hang out with JG for a little while. In fact, I helped him pack so he could leave. Got to reconnect with JG, got to reconnect with Bob O'Reilly, who I haven't seen in a while. They are doing well. Hopefully they will be back. Don't know who's doing the official convention in April. They're really, really, really slow rolling out their guest list. COVID's still a concern. I know a lot of people, they had less than 100 people. They were like 98, 99 when they opened. And so they added some people at the last minute to bump themselves over 100 because they always say they have over 100 guests. Like I said, there were people that weren't happy. There were people that weren't wearing their masks. All day Sunday, they kept making these horrible announcements every 5 minutes. We were going to get closed down or you were going to get kicked out if you didn't wear your mask, which makes me really happy because I did my selfies with Connor and Dominic on Saturday, and we all just kind of sneaked our masks down because, I would have still done it, but I just would have been really disappointed if we'd had been wearing masks for that. Let's see. Oh, also ran into Hana Hate was there for a few minutes. Got to see her. Got to see Melissa. Melissa's doing really well. She was there with her fabulous artwork. Finally got to meet Sirach Lofton in person. Got a selfie with him. Again, I admit, I have been really bad with the pictures, but I've been recovering from knee surgery pretty much since I got back. And I just haven't been sitting at my desk, which is where I do all of my photo editing and everything. It's so much easier to do it here than on my laptop. And I just haven't been able to get comfortable at my desk until now, so I can hang out with you guys. So I will have to get those pictures up. Yeah, Sirach is amazing. Sirach, just like Aaron, talks to everybody, has amazing conversations with everybody at their table. So if you ever have a chance to go chat with Sirach, he's he's great. He's such a sweetheart. Yeah, they kept moving Melissa around. She never really quite found a home. Chase Masterson was there, of course, just working the entire week. She is the busiest person at any of these events, whether it's the cruise, whether it's a convention. She had her happy hours at Quarks. It's not Quarks anymore. It's Jimmy's Place. Had her happy hour at Jimmy's Place every night. But did I mention bingo? I know, especially Travis is here for the Nicole interview, and I don't want to keep everybody waiting. I do have the Nicole interview coming up in a few minutes. But they didn't do karaoke. That was changed at the last minute, which, yes, I was disappointed in, but yes, I completely understood why. And so Connor and Dominic hosted bingo, which was actually pretty funny. It was actually a pretty good time. Didn't win anything, came close a couple times, but I didn't win anything. They hosted 5 games. That was it. We were done. And then they disappeared. For the first time, they actually ended up having to go behind the curtain instead of coming down and walking out the regular way. But somebody also asked Connor for his autograph at the end of it. And that was just rude. I'm sorry, but we all know that they're there as a work. And that's just rude. You don't ask them for their autograph. You don't think you're going to get a free autograph when everybody else has to wait in line. So all in all, I mean, it was great. Domestic was there. I met Domestic for a couple of minutes. We bumped into each other a couple times. Got to hang out with some of the people from the 7th Rule. They had a little get together that I went to. Got to see. I love traveling 2/3 of the way across the country to hang out with people who live in New York City when I'm only an hour and a half away from New York City. I love doing that. It's so much fun. I did, on a personal note, I went out early because I did some birthday stuff. Anybody that gets a chance to do the high roller Ferris wheel at the Link, I highly recommend it. They offer a $60 ticket, which is the half-hour happy hour, which is an open bar for the entire ride, which is 30 minutes around, which was great because we had this amazing bartender. And like the minute you couldn't double fist, you could only have one at a time, but it's like the second you were empty, he was giving you another one to the point where we were almost down. And it's Vegas. You're allowed to walk around with drinks. So he said, everybody hurry up and finish your drinks. I'll give you one for the road. So we all walked out of our cabin with a drink in hand. So if anybody's going to Vegas, the Ferris wheel is called the High Roller. It's at the Link. It's an amazing time. And you get beautiful views. And again, one of these days I will post all of my pictures, I promise. So Vegas is always Vegas. I mean, even when you have to wear a mask, it's still for me, it was still an incredible experience. And like I said, just getting to see people. The drawbacks were the bars weren't open the way they should have been. Or the way, I guess I shouldn't say the way they should have been, the way they usually are. We were told that the Starbucks that's closest to the convention center was going to be open for the week. It wasn't, which meant that the one Starbucks, the tinier one by the one tower, was, I think I had Starbucks twice, the day we got there and then one other time, because it was just too crowded. For anybody that doesn't know, next year it's a 4-day convention, not 5. It's starting on August 25th and it's going to be at Bally's. And yes, I already made my reservation. So anybody who couldn't go because of the timing, they moved it. But now I know probably a lot of people that are teachers and whatnot that have summers off probably are going to have a problem with the fact that it's later in the year. Including, I have been trying to get, let me rephrase that, Amy Shimmerman and I have become friends on Facebook. She is amazing and I have been dying to meet her. But she's a school teacher. So even the beginning of August for her isn't great because of when California starts their school year. Well, now I'm sure she's not going to come out. I'm going to have to make plans next time I'm out in LA because I'm already making plans to go out to LA sometime in the very near future because I miss LA. So, yeah, let me think. If still, the other thing, Dominic's not only sporting a mullet, he's sporting a goatee. And again, didn't get a chance to talk to him about that either, but those are his life choices. So I guess, what am I going to say? Except I miss you with short hair. But that's just me, and it's his life. I was going to tease him about it, but like I said, just didn't have the time. I think that pretty much covers Vegas. So we're going to bop over to the Sci Fi Summit. Oh, Faith. What's Faith? Not impressed with Vegas overall as a place, but without reservation, that going to meet friends would make it work. Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, I've just never liked long hair on guys. That's just me. I've just never, I mean, it looks okay on Dominic. I met him and it was short. It was more Malcolm Reed style. So that's kind of, but again, those were his lecture. He's also wearing a fedora, which he actually looks really good in. Had this fedora on, which he did that in a couple of, virtual thingies. Virtual thingies. He did it in a couple of virtual Q&As. So that's his new thing is hats. I am one of these days going to make NX 7062 hats. So you never know. So the New Jersey Sci Fi Summit 55-year mission. It's a really freaking long name, but they're calling it the Sci Fi Summit. Again, because they can't use Star Trek. And because it wasn't just Star Trek, they invited other people, including Connor. Connor was actually there for a day. They literally flew him in. He landed at 1 a.m. on Sunday morning, did the convention for the day, and scooted out. I have talked to him about possibly doing the podcast. We just need to connect. But hopefully that will happen because unfortunately Connor and Dominic were not available to do the podcast. And we'll get to more of that in a minute. Let's see. All right. So but here's the thing. This is why I mentioned Connor and Jersey. I had a question that I had come up with. I know that my interview questions for Vegas are all about you guys, but I figured I'd sneak one of my own in there. And when Connor and Dominic couldn't do the interview, I went up to ask him. I actually just walked up and did the whole thing when he and Jeff were doing their panel and just asked him the question there. So I have the answer to that question, and I'll tell you what it was in a second. Everybody at the Sci Fi Summit was only there for a day, but I did get a chance to talk to Michelle Hurd. She is amazing. Mary Weissman and her husband Noah were there. Had a chance to chat with them in Vegas a little bit. The Disco Cast is just so awesome. The Picard Cast, because it's all fresh and new to them, and they're so excited to be part of the family, and they're so excited with their shows. Sneak with Martin Green is amazing. The other thing, I did get to go to I wasn't going to go, but a friend of mine treated me to a ticket to go see the Anthony Rapp concert that they did on Saturday night. And he is amazing. It was just about an hour of just him on stage singing. And of course, he closed the show with that song from Rent. Well, look who's here. Hey, War Dog. What up? So glad you could make it. What's that? The Rent song with the numbers that I never remember. 5,000, that one. It was just incredible. Sorry, I'm like on the road. Oh, no worries. The fact that you're here is just amazing. So thank you so much for making it. And just so everybody knows out there in TV land, this streams on a bunch of different platforms. So if I say hi to somebody that shows up and you don't see them in your chat, it's probably because they're on another platform. And you know why? I'm going to okay, perfect. War Dog is on YouTube. He's watching me on YouTube. That's why there's that little, but my favorite, hey Enterprise, what's up? My buddy Roy is on Facebook. So that I call him Enterprise. We met in New Jersey, the last official Star Trek convention in New Jersey in 2017 is where we met. And of course I talked to him because he was cosplaying in an Enterprise uniform. Oh, Mohammed, thank you so much for coming. And I know, thank you. I love that you listen. I love that I've gone to all the trouble to do this on video now. and you just listen as if it was just a podcast, just an audio podcast. Roy, thank you. I'm so excited that you're here. You missed Sci-Fi Summit New Jersey. You didn't miss too much. I mean, it was fun, and I'm really glad I went. And again, I got to connect with some people that didn't go out to Vegas. But the vendors room was really sparse. The best thing, I will tell you, this is the best thing about doing the New Jersey convention right after Vegas. I didn't buy any creation stuff in Vegas. I didn't buy like the official t-shirt or anything because I knew that it was going to make it to New Jersey. And when it made it to New Jersey, it was all like half price. Like I got a really nice Star Trek jacket, like a Letterman jacket. It doesn't say Star Trek on it. It says 55-year mission, but it's still really cool. It was $30 because they knocked it down from what it was in Vegas. So that is like the best, absolute best reason to go to New Jersey, especially if you've been to Vegas, because you just don't buy anything in Vegas. You just wait. So I'm hoping that the New Jersey thing, even though it was lightly attended because of COVID, hopefully they'll do it again next year. And hopefully they'll be able to have more guests, because it really, I mean, it worked. And it's great because it's a little over an hour for me. I did book a hotel up there just to save on gas and tolls. But I will say I do prefer the hotel conventions. I think I've said this before. I still prefer hotel conventions over convention center conventions. But you know what? I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth. Connor Trenier was in Jersey, and I got to see him twice in a month. The one thing I will say, and this is sort of part of my convention 101 that I don't think I've mentioned, but I ran into this when I was in Jersey. Yes, Stephanie always has the life hacks. That's right. The important ones, the Star Trek life hacks. I'm very specific with my life hacks. I got in line to talk to Michelle Hurd about something. I think I was going to ask her something about SVU versus Picard or something along those lines, because anybody that knows, Michelle was in the early days of Law and Order SVU. But as I was standing in line, somebody asked a question. Wasn't my question, but the answer that Michelle gave contained pretty much the answer I was looking for. It just kind of like went around that way. So I got out of line. So I know it's really cool to get up to the mic and be able to ask somebody a question that you've been dying to ask them. And there's that moment of personal interaction between you and them when you're on the mic. But don't ask a question that they've pretty much already answered, for a couple reasons. A, the celebrities would prefer to answer new questions. B, you're taking up time. Depending on who it is, they're almost never going to get through the line of people that want to ask a question. So if you're going to just basically waste time, because the celebrity isn't going to tell you no, the celebrity is going to answer your question, the celebrity is going to talk to you, and that's taking away from somebody that might have a different question that would have gotten to ask it, but they end up being the cutoff because you went up and asked it. So just keep that in mind. As much as you might want to get on the mic and talk to them, unless you can think of a new question, don't get out of line if you think of a new question. Absolutely. But if you can't think of a new question and your answers come up while you're standing in line, just be considerate of the people behind you that want to ask, and go, and just be happy you got your answer and go sit down. Which segues into, I was the first person on the mic to ask Connor a question, because this is what happened. I wanted to ask both Connor and Dominic, because I've seen a lot of the other things that they've done. I wanted to ask them both if they had a favorite genre. Dominic's done a lot of horror, and he's played a lot of bad guys, in crime dramas. So I wanted to ask if they had a favorite genre that they like to work in. And it's the same with Connor. Connor's done horror and drama. And so that's what I asked him. And his answer was sci-fi is actually his favorite genre, because the stories are unlimited. He said, when you do a police procedural, you're doing a police procedural. There's, you're kind of in a box of the police procedural. Sci-fi doesn't live in that box. Your creativity can basically explode. So his favorite genre to work in sci-fi, because the stories are limitless. So that was the question I asked him. He was on stage with Jeff Combs. And I had a different question for Jeff, because I had just worked a horror convention. And for any of my horror buddies out there, I worked with the guy that wrote and directed and did the special effects for this really amazing independent film called Terrifier. It's on IMDb TV for free. It is gory. So it's horror. It's like classic gory horror. And it's amazing. It's well written. It's well acted. I loved it. But this guy, Damien, is now working. His new project that's coming out very soon is called Stream. And it has a major list of fantastic horror stars, including Jeffrey Combs. So I had asked Jeff if he could tell us anything about Stream. and he's going to be in it, and it's going to be amazing, and it's tech oriented. It's kind of like a hotel. Basically, it's a hotel where you check in but you can't check out, and it's techie based. That's basically all I remember because I wasn't taking notes. But anyway, when stream comes out, go look for it because Jeff's in it. A couple other people are in it that they haven't announced yet, so I can't tell you, but trust me, it's going to be horror amazing. Let's see what we got. I would ask, which version of Wells did you enjoy playing the most? Lasso knows the answer to that question. Somebody asked him that at a convention that Lasso went to in Chicago, and somebody asked him that again at my convention, and we compared notes, and the answer is always the same. And let me see if I remember. The answer is the first Wells. For anybody that watches The Flash, Tom Cavanaugh played like 50 different versions of this one character, Wells. And he said he kind of enjoys when he's in the moment. That's the character he enjoys the most, but overall he enjoys the first one. Oh, someone asked him at your convention twice. See, I forgot that part of the story, Lasso. See, you don't do that. Combs. Oh, yes. For anybody that hasn't watched Lower Decks yet, Jeffrey Combs voiced an evil computer, and of course he was sheer perfection. And I tweeted that, and he liked it. I was so excited. I think it's the first time Jeff has ever liked one of my podcast tweets. Yeah, twice in the same panel. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Catfish, bread, and 5 baked or grilled. Oh. Yes, Connor started singing Hotel California. Connor absolutely started singing Hotel California. Sort of. He was also very sleepy. You guys are talking too fast. Yeah, I would never ask him that. It was awesome. Oh, and by the way, in case you guys haven't noticed, I have a website. I need to learn how to do this better. I have a website now, nx7062.com. It's there. It had a countdown clock to tonight's show. Yes. See now you're giving me another reason to tweet at him. I would love to get Jeff on this show. He just did the 7th rule, again, because I believe in the no hate scenario, and there's no reason for any Star Trek podcast to be in competition with any other Star Trek podcast, which leads me to I hung out with the Women at Warp and Priority One podcast people. So I highly recommend them. They're an amazing group. And the 7th rule, if you head over to the 7th rules YouTube page, they interviewed Jeff about his role on Lower Decks. So it was awesome. The minute I heard him do the computer in the first scene, I cracked up, and I just didn't stop laughing the entire time. So I think that pretty much covers my convention experiences for the moment. If I think of anything, oh, thank you, Faith. Yes, exactly. All the podcasts are awesome. I don't think I should make anybody wait any longer for the pièce de résistance of this podcast. Like I said, Nikki was kind enough to break away from, actually not break away. We did this after hours. It's explained in the opening of the video. But that is awesome, Robert. That is absolutely awesome. But listen, you guys, thank you all for your questions. Everybody out there that gave the questions. I am trying to get Connor to come on to answer the questions. I don't know if he'll bring Dominic or not. I sort of hinted that he could, but he doesn't have to. So I'm going to try and arrange that. Cross your fingers. The one thing I'm going to say before we launch this video is, for those of you that have been with me for like forever, like Robert, probably know this, but every time that I've tried to interview Nicole DeBoer, something has happened to the audio. Fortunately, the first time I interviewed her back a few years ago, it was my audio. I sound like a chipmunk and she sounds fine. The second time we tried to do anything was the Halloween episode last year. And because she was in Canada and she was using, I think, an iPad or something, StreamYard does not work well with Apple iPads or whatever. So she had to dump out of that. So this year I'm like, all right, got her on the audio was messed up, and that has to do with my phone, but I'm not going to get into the tech difficulties, just that the phone was supposed to do something it didn't do. The audio was there. Thankfully, I'm enough of an audio technician that I fixed it. So you all should be able to hear everything. But I did text Nikki and tell her, your streak still goes. There's something wrong with this audio, but at least this time, Nicole, I fixed it. So I hope you all enjoy. Hearing the answers to your questions. And without further ado, my interview with Nicole DeBoer.
Hey guys, this is Stephanie K and the NX7062 podcast coming to you, recorded from the beautiful Lambda Quadrant suite that we have at STLV, compliments of Mr. Randy Frank, who you may know from previous podcasts. We put together this fabulous suite, and he said that it was a great place to come and do interviews because it gets the lovely actors off the floor, someplace quiet. We can actually take our masks off, comfort level, obviously. Mm-hmm. But,
Nicole, it's pretty cool.
It's really cool. Nicole and I are both vaccinated, so.
Vaccinated, you know it.
Yep, and creation was really cool this year about clamping down on making sure who could come in, and
very good.
They're very high on safety this year. So we decided to do this up here away from the floor, because the other thing I know is really important this year with the lighter crowds is that you spend as much time at your booth as possible. So I didn't want to take that away from you. Yeah. So I appreciate you agreeing to do this after hours.
My pleasure.
And as you all know, there are questions from the audience.
Oh my gosh.
From my studio audience. And we all know Travis because
we know Travis.
We love Travis.
Travis. Hi, Travis.
Hi, Travis. And Travis had a really great question because he said he was finally, after all this time, I don't know, it took us long, able to watch What We Left Behind.
Oh, good. Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
And he wants to know, even though you were only there for one season, what were your feelings, thoughts on the last day of shooting?
On the last day of shooting, I was sad, just like everybody, And for me, although I was only on the one season, it was still 26 episodes, like back when people did 26 episodes in a season. So I did a lot, and I really got to feel like I was definitely part of the family.
Well, and I mean, those shoots, those were long days. It wasn't
long
just...
days.
It wasn't just in and out. So you spent
9 months of long days.
Right.
And so I really felt part of it. And, and I felt their set. I could feel, I could see how close they all were and how much they'd all gone through and been such a long time for them. So you could feel that,
Right.
So I felt sad for them as well, and you couldn't help but tear up,
You know what's funny is then you're talking about like bonding with that cast and the long days. I just remember this fantastic story you told back in 2016, the first convention where we met.
Right.
About I think it was your audition day, and you showed up on the set, and you turn around, and there's like Jerry Ryan getting out of a car with
That's
him.
right. Yeah. I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this part. That's what they're looking for. What am I kidding myself here? But luckily, that's not what they're looking for.
No, I've said this on multiple podcasts. I'm a huge fan of MASH. It's one of my favorite non-sci-fi shows. And one of the things I've respected and liked is whenever they needed to replace a character, they usually went in a completely opposite direction of the person they're replacing.
Yep.
So there are no chances for comparisons because you want to build this character on their own 2 feet.
That's right.
So obviously with you, they went in a completely different direction, and you were.
They could have gone with a man or something.
Right.
It would have been really completely different. But
But no, I think.
But within being another woman. Then it was still quite different.
It was very different,
and personality-wise, for sure, different. You know?
And what you brought to that part, that confused.
Yeah.
I never wanted this.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with it. Yeah. That identity crisis that we've talked with Lambda Quadrant about that resonates a lot with the transgender community.
For sure. Yeah.
Not that a man couldn't play it, but I think the emotionalism, I think there's definitely something to that female emotionalism. Right. Women are much more freer with their emotions, so So Esri wasn't scared.
They tend to be, not necessarily, but overall they tend
in general. Yeah, but that's the thing. Esri wasn't scared to say things that maybe a male character in the same position. So I just think that resonated much better with the audience.
I think so, yeah.
So.
And I was saying on the panel, we had a lovely panel of women of Star Trek.
Right.
That Chase Masterson, was the moderator for, and it was Denise Crosby and Robin Curtis, and then Terry, who wasn't able to be here, she came and did it by Zoom, which was a really nice treat because she felt so bad to not be able to be here.
Yeah.
Right? So that was a really nice surprise. And it ended up being a lovely panel. And in it, I was saying, you know, when it comes to courage, and, you know, Jadzia was so together and confident. And I loved that, actually, you know, it's a reminder that courage comes from, you know, if you have anxiety or you, like Esri, didn't know her identity or trying to fit in, but she still persevered, and that's courage. You know?
Absolutely.
To be able to do that, to be able to say, I'm scared and I don't know and I'm confused, but, you know, and she thought about running, but she didn't. You know, and all that stuff takes a lot of courage.
It does. And I've always said, you know, I've always preferred people to be honest with me, and I don't know is a great answer to a question.
Yeah.
But you have to have courage to say it instead of flub your way through and pretend like you know what you're doing.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely.
And I love that relationship she had with Ben, you know, with Cisco. And
it made sense.
It made sense.
It made sense that with everything that you had going on, that Esri had going on emotionally, that the symbiote in her would kind of guide her to the one person.
That's right. And although, you know, I had been his mentor, Dax had been his, now he's sort of my mentor, and but it all just was sort of organic and worked. And then as far as working with Avery Brooks, also, it just felt right, you know, and that's a lot on him as well, to give me that, to sort of, when he was saying to me, oh man, like I felt like he really believed I was his mentor somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
And we just worked like that, and it was really like a beautiful thing.
Right. And again, that brought you into the fold, which made it just as emotional for you on the last day as everybody else.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. So the other, I sort of stumbled across this person. I don't honestly remember like everything in my brain leading up to this convention.
Tell me about it. I mean,
yeah, but Claire, she was great. I saw her somewhere. I think somebody was posting, if you could ask a Star Trek character anything, who would you ask? And all you had to do was post like what actor you want. It was just a general question. And I saw that they posted you, and I said, hey, listen, how about this?
Yeah,
I'm gonna see her. Why don't you let me give it a shot?
Yeah.
So she has so many questions, but like I said, I know
Claire.
This is for Claire.
Okay, hi Claire.
She even sent me a copy of a fan fiction she wrote, which is really nice, and it centers around you. You are obviously.
Oh, I love that. It's so great that people write fan fiction. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. So, so she was really excited. So, a lot of her questioning just has to do with, where do you see Esri, like after Deep Space Nine ended? What would you have liked to have seen for Esri? Where would you have liked to have seen Esri go as a person and as, you know, on her journey, because it did seem still kind of unfinished by the time.
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure. I know so many people there's been a lot of wonderful things written in books, you know, about Esri. People will tell me at the tables, they'll come up. I have not read it personally.
Right.
But I know, you know, that some people have her as a captain, and, you know, I just, anything really, I'm not particular. Yeah, sure, a captain eventually would be great, of course. And of course, in What We Left Behind, they do write, you know, season 8, episode 1, where she is captain. Just more to see her together and being able to, you know, process all of these people in her and utilize them to the best ability. It would just be fun to see her down the road. Still Esri at heart, at core. But just being able to really use all of these different abilities and people within her would be cool.
Well, and that was
fun.
Right, and that's honestly what Claire was looking for too, was like, what are the interesting challenges? But it looks like the challenge would be for Esri to finally accept all of her past lives.
Yes, but still a quirkiness there.
Right.
And how she manages it,
really,
I think would be fun to play. But definitely harnessing it better. It would be fun because you'd be like, yay, Esri. But she'd still have some interesting ways of utilizing all the people that would be different from the way Jadzia did, you know?
Yeah, well, and you know, it was funny because I just saw the episode. Thank you, Heroes and Icons. I always say this on my show because Heroes and Icons run 6 days a week. They run everything. So every now and then I'm around enough to catch. And right now, before I left, they were in your season.
Okay.
So the one where you had to
residuals.
Yeah. The one where you had to contact your past self that was a murderer.
Right. Yeah.
Joanne. You know, Yeah, I mean, that was such a poignant episode.
Yeah.
And again, it addresses that challenge that you have because Esri was completely unprepared.
Right.
And to sit there and go, all right, well, I guess I have to, you know.
Yeah, it'd be fun to pull him back up now-ish when she's a little more together, you know?
Yeah. And not so, you wouldn't have succumbed so easily to his little.
Exactly.
You would have been like, I'm putting you in your place.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that would be fun.
Okay, Claire also said that you touched on this in 2019. If you reprise your role for Star Trek Picard or perhaps another series, what sort of role would you like to see your play? Or put another way, who has Esri become in the 24 years? But, I mean, if they did offer you, I mean, and we did.
Anything, I'd love to be on it.
Yeah, we talked about that the last time we were together in 2019 where you were like, yes, Picard, call me.
Yes, definitely. Call me. What the heck? I don't know what their problem is. I don't know what's taking them so long.
I know. You would be great.
I think so.
I think you should just fly in and like Riker did at the end. He came in and saved it. So you need to come in and save the day as Captain Esri. Why not? Why not? How much of your own personality and experiences informed your role as Esri, and what did you draw on to clarify the role at the time?
Definitely, I'm drawn to people being. I myself like to sort of. The thing I like about acting is putting it all out on my sleeve, you know, because that's what I love about it. That's what I love about people. I like to talk to people and get into their minds and just sit one-on-one. I'm not good in big groups. I'm more of a one-on-one person. Right. And I like to hear people and sort of, you know, maybe help them out and listen. But I like to share and just be like, you know, these are my vulnerabilities, and I love that. So in Esri, I was like, okay, this is what I love. She's got these vulnerabilities. And I think that it showed, because people would down the line say, you know, that really helped me. You know, seeing Esri really helped me because I realized I'm not alone in feeling this way, and it's going to work out. And I love that, because that was something I definitely wanted to do, because I tend to be like that in life too. I don't mind sharing, you know, vulnerabilities.
I have to tell you this, again, I don't know, you probably never heard this story, but I was working for Creation in 2017. I did the New Jersey Con.
Yeah.
And I was working the mics, and somebody actually asked Denise Crosby, like, well, don't you lose yourself in a character?
Right.
And he did community theater, and he was trying to give Denise Crosby acting lessons.
Oh, shoot.
And Denise handled it so gracefully.
I'm sure she did.
But, and she said exactly what you said. You know, acting is about finding that part of yourself that you can imbue in a character. You don't lose yourself.
No.
You become that. You find something within you to bring out.
Ure.
And but I just remember I wasn't at the mic. They always alternate. So it was the mic on the other side of the stage, and I'm thinking, you're really doing this, Denise Crosby. But like I said, she was just perfectly, you know, answered it with just so much tact. That's the word I'm looking for. She was so tactful.
And, you know, they got up and asked a question, and good on them, you know? And
whatever. Right.
It's all good.
Okay, so the last one will fit in from Claire. Having seen at least some of the next generation yourself, who on the Enterprise D or E do you think Esri would get along with most, and why?
Interesting.
I mean, do you think you and Deanna could swap counselor stories? Or do you think?
Yeah, I think she could be sort of a mentory kind of a person for her. You know what? I've never thought about that. That's kind of funny. Who would Esri be? I mean, I would definitely want to hang out with Riker.
I was just going to say, well, no, not just from that Riker.
No, but I think it would be cute. It could be funny.
And he hosted a trill in one episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the host.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if that's Esri or that's just me. I just think it would be fun to do Esri Riker scenes.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Because Riker just needs more counselors in his life.
And then, Data, because I love Data too. So I don't know. Patrick Stewart. I'd love to do with Picard too. Okay, yeah.
So basically everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we all know how well you hang out with Worf, because.
Well, yeah, I already know Worf.
We already know Worf.
Yeah. No, but believe me, I was very excited that I was going to work with Worf. You know.
Yeah.
And Miles O'Brien.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, oh, that's right. You were already kind of, so those.
I
already know the Enterprise career. There you go. Yeah, that was the other episode that I caught, was the one where you and Worf got kidnapped.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a fun episode.
That was fun.
Yeah, I think the first time we did a podcast together, we covered that whole kissing, taking the teeth out thing.
I love working with Nicole DeBoer, so that was super fun.
All right, so those are the questions for you. Here's the funny thing, and we talked about this before I started rolling, is that Connor and Dominic unfortunately can't make it this time. Again, I'm trying not to take away anybody's time.
Again.
But they're not going to be here, unfortunately. But Connor was so nice when he turned me down. He just basically said, ask Nicole my questions.
Okay. Yeah. Well, how's that work? I'm going to answer his questions. Well, let me see.
Well, Jill on Twitter wanted to know from Connor and Dominic, what have they been watching on TV recently? Have you guys? Definitely not Enterprise reruns.
I'm trying to think if they told me what they were watching on TV recently. Shoot, I don't know. I should just start making things up. Pose.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Dead Zone.
Dead Zone. They were just watching Dead Zone.
And Private Eyes.
Private Eyes, 24/7.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else was there. Michelle R from Twitter. She wanted to I have to read this question because I love the wording.
Okay.
She wanted to know if they would do another Enterprise, telling more stories about early space travel. And I was supposed to let Connor know that Trip can come back from the dead. Spock did, and so did Bobby Ewing. So
Trip can come back. Trip had a baby. Trip can come back from the dead. Like, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, anybody that reads the novels knows that there's a whole Section 31 thing where they actually did bring Trip back in the novels.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Let me see if there's any more that you could answer. And then I had, Well, you know what? I'll ask. This was a question from me to them.
Yeah.
But it suits you too.
Okay.
So we're going to do this one.
Okay. As me or as them?
If you want to.
I'm confused.
No,
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I put this together for them.
Okay.
From me.
Okay.
But it's a great question for you too.
Okay.
As I sit here because you have just as much of an experience with this kind of stuff. Do you have a favorite genre or character type that you prefer? Like horror, bad guy, good guy?
Honestly, comedy. I like doing comedy.
Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, I really like doing comedy a lot. Yeah.
So
I would have loved to have been on Schitt's Creek. I did audition for Schitt's Creek.
Did you?
But I mean, she's amazing for the sister. You know, she's just incredible. But I did audition for it, and at the time, I was one of the early people auditioning, and casting said, "Wow, Nicole, I think we found your niche. So I was like, oh my God. And then I never heard back. And
don't you hate that?
But that's the type of thing that I like, I mean, I like lots of things.
Right.
You're just asking me, like, what would be...
what's your favorite? Because,
do enjoy comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
You've done horror, you've done sci-fi, you've done... So
Yeah.
you have all of that experience in all of the genres. So obviously I figure... And I want to plug you again because, again, back when we met in 2016, you did some... Was it the Kids in the Hall movie? Or was
I did
it
the Kids in the Hall movie, Brain Candy.
Yeah. Kids in the Hall, for anybody that doesn't know, Lauren Michaels, who we all know from SNL,
right,
also basically created the Canadian Monty Python, which was Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, well, they created themselves. They were these guys from Canada that got together and made this group, but then Lauren Michaels produced them.
Oh, okay, so it was their idea, but Lauren saw the potential.
Right.
And it is really the Canadian Monty Python.
Amazing. Dave Foley.
I love Dave Foley. He's so amazing.
Yeah.
He's popping
Scott
up.
Thompson, who is also great on Larry Shanley's show and all that. Larry Shanley.
You know what I was watching?
Sanders. I always get that mixed up.
I was watching Friends this morning, getting ready to go, and who's the short guy with the black curly hair? I'm terrible with names. That was from Kids in the Hall.
Oh, Kevin McDonald. Kevin McDonald. Yes.
So that was the little guy with the black. Yeah, he was on an episode.
Little, but yeah,
he was.
He's
tiny, short.
Yeah, I guess.
Compared to the rest, him and Dave Foley compared to the other guys.
Bruce is the shortest one, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think
you would know better than you. But no, I just saw him this morning on an episode of Friends. I'm like, Kids in the Hall.
Oh yeah, was he the neighbor downstairs?
No, he was a holistic healer that Ross went to for a mole.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't remember that. That's amazing.
It was so funny.
Okay. Oh,
it was so funny.
Yeah, no, I love working with those guys. They just shot their new show, they were going to try to find a part for me. They just finished shooting in Toronto, and it's a new Kids in the Hall show.
Oh,
but it's based on their live touring show they did.
Oh, that's still like I said, they're
really
they're
great.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
I wish it was available down here. Like I've looked to see stream
this
it.
new show should be
good. All right, so let's do more plugs for Nikki. Screw you guys. You know,
Okay.
they don't want to come up here. We're not going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
So, what are you Private Eyes the last season?
Yeah, we did 5 seasons of Private Eyes. It's sort of, it's not really on in the States very well. It was on Ion. And
I'm so excited.
Maybe something fell apart with that, that deal. But it's a hit show in Canada.
For good reason.
Global network, on Global TV. And, we thought we were going to do 6th season, and then we suddenly weren't.
Oh.
So I'm not sure why they decided not to, but we were all kind of surprised by it. I know the COVID protocols and all that stuff is a lot of extra money and stuff. I don't know. Maybe that factored in. I don't know.
Right.
But so we're done. 5 seasons, still pretty good. And I've had so many auditions this past
Congratulations.
couple of months. Well, be good if I could get one of them.
Right.
But, because of Amazon and Netflix have opened up studios up in Canada and Ontario.
Yeah.
So it's really hopping.
It's amazing the wealth of outlets now.
Oh yeah, there's so many. There's so much. There's so many platforms. There's so much.
Which is great because there's so much stuff out there that otherwise wouldn't get made.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's a great
I hear
opportunity.
from friends that are trying to, write and create and pitch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's still difficult,
Right.
because it's always changing. What's in, what's hot, what's wanted,
Right.
So when friends of mine are trying to chase that, and I'm just so impressed that they can sit down and write something in a couple of months. But then it's not in now, and they go to pitch it. It's like, oh, we're not looking for that kind of thing now. We're not looking for the indie film now. We're looking,
Right.
we're looking for this. So, or we're not looking for this type of show anymore. Or there's truly that zeitgeist where you think you wrote something and then you find out
It's passé already.
10 other people have written the same thing. You're like, wow, what? The same idea. It's crazy.
It is crazy, but
it's like, it is a zeitgeist. It's in the people feel it.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff now, which is great.
Well, so hopefully we'll be seeing you.
Hopefully.
And hopefully after Private Eyes, after the seasons are over and you guys are done, maybe hopefully somebody will pick it up again down here.
You never know. Yeah, maybe.
Because it was on Amazon Prime for a while to rent.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But I think Amazon even stopped after the 2nd season.
Yeah.
So I only buy your episodes anyway. I always look for your name in that.
Yeah.
But no, I do. For anybody it sees this that can get a hold of Private Eyes, the chemistry between you and Jason Priestley and
Cindy Sampson. Yeah.
Thank you. Is great. It's a fun criminal drama.
I
love that.
It's like Moonlighting or Castle or
something
like that.
Yeah, so it's a whodunit, but it's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And you'll let me know if you have any new projects because I'm always up to promote for you.
I'll always let you know, honey.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for being here with me. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I don't want to keep you. Yeah, because
it's a cool little set.
Isn't it cool? Yes, thank you again to Randy, Frank, and Lambda Quadrant for letting me kind of hand that out in a safe space because that's what Lambda Quadrant's all about. For anybody that can't see it, he's off camera smiling at us because he's the consummate professional. He came in quietly so we could finish this.
So professional.
He is. He's amazing. So thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Nicole, and have a great rest of your convention.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
All right, there we go. Now I'm back. I muted my mic in case I needed to yell at the cats. So, Lasso, you are absolutely right. I'm going to sneak this in. Thank you. And yes, Nicole is absolutely one of my favorite Star Trek people. She's another person that I was fortunate enough to meet in 2016, and we've just kind of built a fun little friendship every time I see her. She's great. Oh, thank you so much, War Dog. I appreciate that. So that is it from Vegas. The Lambda Quadrant suite was awesome. One more shout out to Randy and Lambda Quadrant. That was actually just Randy's room. And honestly, I did not envy him one bit because he knew that I was going to be doing that. And we were kind of creating a little safe space for the celebrities if they wanted to come up. We actually had snacks and things for our friends. He had to keep that room pristine the entire week that we were there. And there was no housekeeping. Housekeeping was like every 3 days or something if you wanted it because of the COVID concerns. So props to Randy for that whole setup that allowed me to come up and do that. Hopefully next year I'll have something even better with audio that I won't have to fix at the last minute. Travis, you are so welcome. It was my pleasure. I will let Nicole know that you said that as well. Guys, listen, this has been a great return. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Don't forget that, you know, Chicago is going to be here sooner than anybody thinks. I mean, I know April seems so incredibly far away, but it's really not. And I could use your help to get out there if anybody, sorry. Hard to get back on track after, you know, watching myself on video. Would love you guys, if anybody has a chance to support me on Patreon, you can do as little as $1 a month, all the way up to, there's so many other tiers. They're all named after Enterprise episodes. I figured out how to name all my tiers after Enterprise episodes. So if you would, I would love it if you could head over and become a Patreon patron. The other thing that you can do if you want to help out is head on over to the Teespring store. There's some really great merchandise there. You saw my tank top I was wearing in the video was my NX7062 tank top. Like I said, I am working on getting some of these with NX7062 on them instead. Don't know when that's going to happen, but I will keep you up. Thank you, Lasso. But anyway, so yeah, if you guys could join me on Patreon, all of my patrons actually get access to my other Facebook page. I have a private Facebook page called the NX7062 at Pajem, and you guys can hang out and you'll get perks for being patrons. You get to suggest guests, you get to suggest topics for the show, and eventually I'm going to work on some exclusive content that's only going to be there. So I have 3 whole patrons, and I would love to have some more. And the higher the tier you can get, I will send you thank you gifts. There are thank you gifts for my patrons in the higher tier levels. So if you want to bop over to Patreon to check that out, or bop over to the Teespring store, all of that information is on my Facebook pages. It's on my new website, NX7062. Yeah, I think we're good. I mean, we've been chatting for over an hour. Like I said, I am so excited that you guys are all here. Thank you so much for making my return so special. Thank you so much. We are back. We are here Monday nights live, 10 o'clock. Stephanie K with the NX702 podcast, 7062 podcast. Have a great night and live long and prosper.
Hey, this is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX7062 podcast with Stephanie. Enjoy your evening.